Why do you think women are still afraid?
I didn't know how much money we had, where it is coming from. You can't get Warren Buffett and say, okay, like he's the face of my app.
Women they tend to doubt. At 25, I'm like, shit, why haven't I made it? And then I see like, okay, like there's so much to life.
Well, life is ahead of you. Girls, you are scientists. Why are numbers so difficult? I'm the intern here.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the FoundHers Podcast series. Today with me, I have Rinku Suchanti, the founder of FIKAA, a mobile-based AI app for helping women invest better. Hi Rinku, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, Hinal. Thank you for having me here.
Great.
Genuine pleasure.
Before we start, why don't you go ahead and give us a 1-minute pitch about what is FIKAA all about?
So, FIKAA is an investment platform, like you said. It is India's first AI-driven app where you can put in your age and your financial goal, and the algorithm of the app chooses the best mutual funds for you. And recently we've launched digital gold on the app as well. So it makes a little, we are trying to make a little difference in the investment scenario for women. That's what we're trying to do.
Great. That's actually really interesting because right now we're in a generation where financial independence is of great importance. So people are using this term financial independence quite a bit, especially in women, in that sector. So what is financial independence really? Like, what is your definition of it, and what is it a definition for women?
So financial independence, I would say, is when you can make decisions about your money by yourself, make your money grow at the same time. Generally, what is seen is that women who are earning, they might be doing very well in their professional life, but when it comes to investing and making the money grow, they leave it to the male members of their family or friends. Even if they invest on their own, they don't do any research. They will just ask for a tip, so to say, from a person, or from a friend or a relative, and then go with that.
Right.
Which might not be the best solution, but that's what happens. And the other thing is that women think that finance is a difficult thing to do. But girls, you are scientists, you are whatever, sports people, you are excelling in so many different things and top jobs. But why are numbers so difficult? And these are numbers that the men are doing it, so they are not any different
than us. Right. But I think that comes from that fear of numbers. Like, right, they think finance is numbers. I didn't do good in math. I don't know finance. Like, that's something that I have heard a lot as well.
Even if you've done good in math, even if you've excelled in math, it's a thing that, I don't understand a balance sheet, so I will not. You don't have to.
Yeah.
With FIKAA especially, it's an algorithm-based app. So even if you don't know what is the best mutual fund, the app chooses it for you. The algorithm chooses it for you based on your goals, based on your age, and your risk appetite. You really don't have to, for a start, I would say.
Yeah.
For a start, you don't have to know what it is all about, and you can trust the app because there's no fund manager or something backing that fund specifically and pushing it that, okay, no, you must go with this X because fund or Y fund because I get a commission back from it or something.
Right.
This is what you get from the algorithm. So
because it's all driven basis what your portfolio is like.
Yes.
Got it. So let's go back to your story. Why did you start this? And, has finance been something you've always studied, learned, and, you grew into it, or,
So I have a finance, no, I have a commerce, a BCom student.
Okay.
This is good 30 years back. But after that, I wasn't in the finance world, as to say. My passion is interior designing. So
so how from there to this?
So after BCom, I did interior designing. Then I dabble in that a little bit while my kids were growing up. because it's a part-time thing you can do.
Right.
So then COVID happened. So that's where the turning point is. My husband, who's an investment banker and a stockbroker, he was stuck in Singapore at the start
Okay.
of COVID. And it was, I'm sure everybody remembers those
Yeah.
horrible days when everything was uncertain, and especially when he was abroad. And I realized that I didn't know how much money we had, where it is coming from, what is our investments, nothing. Like, it was so scary.
I'm sure you must have like been like, oh my God, what am I
And
going to do
yeah,
now?
what if?
Yeah, what if? Right.
What if you think of the worst at those points of time? And luckily, it all worked out. He was back. He's doing well. And but then I thought there would be lots and lots of women who would be in a similar situation, and possibly they didn't have help, or they still don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And so that's when the idea kind of
Creeped in.
germinated. We thought of like, how to do this, just spread awareness through social media or do something more. The
Yeah.
first thing is that, okay, let's put that out. The thought that, let's let people be aware that, should start doing something for yourself and things. But that wouldn't be enough. I'm sure
Yeah.
there are a lot
Enough
of
people educating. Yeah.
Yeah. So we should do a more well-rounded kind of thing. You educate, then you let them invest, and make a community also where you can
Okay.
talk about finance. There's this gentleman called Harsh Choksi at our office, and he's been with Keynote, that's my husband's company, for I think good 15 years now, and he's the finance guy in the team of FIKAA. So we brainstormed and what can we do, and so then the idea of the app was developed that, okay, let's do something where women can have the power in their hands, so to say.
Right.
You don't have to go out and look for a broker. That's where the idea of the app came from. So everything is now, so many things are app based: deliveries, shopping,
Everything is on your phone now.
your phone.
Yeah.
So why not your investments also? It would be much easier if you could just pick up the phone and say, okay, today I want to do this,
Right.
and tomorrow I want to get my money back, and I want to maybe shop something that I've invested for, or keep investing further or something. You don't have to ask anyone. You don't have to tell anyone anything. It's in your hand.
Right.
You have the money in your bank, and you can invest wherever you want. You don't have to consult anyone.
Yeah.
So that was the thing that it took a good year and a half to develop the app, and now we are running.
Right. So I think a couple of points that you highlighted, which I want to discuss. But firstly, I just want to say kudos to you, because going from studying and then working as a homemaker, you were like a mother for like a majority time, and
Yes.
then pivoting into starting a business. I think it takes a lot of courage, and I think I personally take a lot of inspiration from it, because at 25, I'm like, shit, why haven't I made it? Why haven't I made it? And then I see like, okay, like there's so much to life and there's so many opportunities.
Your whole life is ahead of you. You better start now.
That's true. That's true. And I'm coming to the help. I think I work a lot with women founders, and I face this a lot. So I don't come from a finance background at all. Although my dad is a CA and my mom would love the fact that I became a chartered accountant. But it was not something I was interested in.
Sure.
But I did know certain fundamentals like, TDS and all the different professional tax, etc., these verticals. But when I work with a lot of women founders, I see that it's great pride that they take, that they want to manage all the finances themselves. But they are actually afraid to take help from their male counterparts, thinking that that makes them feel weaker, or that okay, it's my business, I've started it, I'm going to do the finances the way I like. So when you said that getting help is always not so easy, and that's why this app comes into play, that you don't need to ask for like 10 opinions, you've got an algorithm data to tell you how it is. So what's your take on women taking help while starting out their business when finance is not their first strong suit?
So there's no harm in taking help, whether it's finance or anywhere where
Right.
you're lacking. When you're in school, if you're weak at a subject, don't you take tuitions?
Yeah.
So
It's the same
What's
thing.
the shame in that?
Right.
You accept something that you're not good at it, and you take help and you grow into that space. You know? Instead of remaining in that space and making a mess out of it, it's better to take help, elevate your level, and move forward. Then, so
Yeah.
if you're a founder and your business is about maybe clothes or whatever, jewelry or something, that's your strong point. So you might not be a finance person, but you might be a creative person.
Right.
So if you take a help from somebody who's a better, man or woman, doesn't matter. But if you take help and learn on the way, that's how I have learned.
Yeah.
So
I think you are a testament of that. Like, you
So-
can learn on the way.
yes,
It's not
you
a
can learn and
yeah.
no, 25 is young. You're
Definitely. I think
Yeah.
that gives a lot of inspiration that
anything,
comes. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely.
whether it be finance or anything else you choose.
Yeah.
Paragliding, maybe. I don't know.
No, definitely. I think that's very true what you said. Like, in school, you took tuitions, right? So why can't you just do that right now? So in your journey, because you obviously had to learn a lot more in creating the app, learning tech. Tech is also one thing that women are like afraid of. That
Yes.
okay, I can't learn tech. I can't understand
still
tech.
afraid.
Yeah, I think that's reality. I'm also
Yeah,
afraid. It
and
takes time.
One is that age factor when everything is different now from where I started.
Yeah.
In sense of tech, like a telephone was tech advancement for me, but
Yeah.
like a mobile phone. And now the apps and what you can do on it, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, what was one of the biggest challenges that you individually as a women founder faced while building the app or while building this entire platform?
Which I think we're still facing is credibility.
Hmm.
That friends who are my age, they will say that, why don't you put your husband as the face of FIKAA?
Oh,
Because he's in the stock market, people know him, and
that.
they will trust him like a man telling you about stocks and shares or whatever about investing. Because he's been in the business, they would believe him more than they would believe you. So just imagine.
That's shocking.
So you have to build credibility. It doesn't
Yeah.
come overnight. It doesn't come with your surname.
Yeah.
You have to do stuff and
Create an impact, basically.
create an impact, be out there,
Hmm.
and little by little, baby steps.
Baby steps. Nice. And obviously, you spoke about your challenge. So, I think it's been 3-4 years now since you've kind of gone into building this entire app since the idea came into your mind. So, one takeaway that you've had in your early stages, which you think could be like an inspiration for women who are out there wanting to maybe start a career in finance or debating whether finance is something I should be exploring?
I think we have a team where I'm the eldest, and then is Harsh, and then there are these 20 to 25-year-old tech guys and the girls and marketing people who are in the marketing and development and the product development people. So it's all these kids who are there and they believe in it so much that you have to believe it.
They become an inspiration
they
for
become
you.
an inspiration. They're out there, they're doing day in and out, and they know so much.
Right.
So they are an inspiration.
Yeah. How do you deal with this? Like, you are probably like double their age.
Yes.
And, at the end of the day, the founder becomes the inspiration. So, how do you deal with the new generation?
So I started with saying that I'm the intern here. Because they know about what is a reel and a story. I learned that from them. What is a KPI? What is an AUM? Lot of these abbreviations.
Yeah, jargons that have come.
Jargon from finance, from tech, from marketing.
Yeah.
What is Mehta now? So it has been like a very smooth but an uphill task.
Uphill task, definitely.
And I get inspiration from these kids all the time. I shouldn't say kids. they'll take offense possibly.
No, I mean, of course, I think you address it that way. That takes, like, that just shows the relation you share. It's so interesting. So I think, how was it learning again? You know, they say, I mean, I was told this when I decided to start working and decided to start this company. Finish your masters and MBA, because once you get working, you will lose touch of studying. You know, that is
Yes.
what I was told. But that clearly is not true,
No,
because
it's
you're
not.
learning every day. So
True. It doesn't have to be a structured school, college,
yeah.
masters, or whatever learning. You're learning every day. If you're not, then it's a sad
Yeah.
anything. Maybe you're learning a new recipe to cook something, you're traveling and you're learning about a new culture.
Yeah.
You're learning all the time. You should be.
You should be learning all
Yeah.
the time. Wow. Moving on to a little bit of a personal question. I think you've had your experience, you had a counterpart in finance. So, what are some healthy habits that you think women should incorporate to manage, or women founders should incorporate to manage their finances better and avoid burnouts?
Everybody at some point feel frustrated and say, okay, this is enough. Now I can't do any more.
Right.
But the thing is to stick on, and only if you stick on and keep doing the same thing again and again do you achieve excellence. This is something you learn by pushing the children to go for the next tennis lesson, to go for your next math class. It's not difficult, you can do it. So when you tell them something like that, it should apply to you as well. So you must believe in what you're doing, and that goes a long way.
Right, definitely. So, thank you for that. Going on to the Gen Z market, I think this is a very important question I want to ask you, because you spoke about women and investing. The Gen Zs today are earning a passive income. They have multiple different, different streams of revenue, even though they are students. And then you see them purchasing a lot of, cars and laptops and materialistic things for themselves as a reward of being, financially
Yeah.
independent in at that age. That's not always ideal, because when you're earning so young, there's so much ahead of you. Like you said, I have my whole life ahead of me. So, what do you think is, how important is investing, and what advice do you want to give these younger kids who are probably earning, say, 40, 50,000 doing freelance while they're still
Still studying,
in their undergrad years? So what would you tell them, and what sort of guidance do you think, or investing tips do you think that they'd require?
So we have this 50, 30, 20 rule,
Okay.
which is there on our app and things also, that you spend 50% of what you earn in your needs and things like your rent and your basic survival
needs,
kind
right.
of thing, and 30% on your wants, that shouldn't deprive yourself of things. What are you earning for?
Yeah.
If you want the new phone and it comes in your budget, go ahead, buy it. If you're looking for the new whatever Gucci shoes or whatever it
Yeah.
is that you're looking for ahead to, if you don't wear it now, when will you wear it? You should have a balance.
Right.
In the 1900s or whatever, put everything back, wear one dhoti and be happy. That is not what we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to enjoy life, we want to travel, we want to have experiences. So if you spend according to a budget, according to a plan, then everything works out. You can have best of both the worlds.
Best. Yeah. I think I like the rule that you said. I think that's a very interesting way to ensure that you're enjoying your splurges, enjoying the
Yes.
fact that you're putting in so much effort, at the same time kind of investing to get a return there. So, with Shark Tank being something that's really prominent right now, I think I want to discuss a little bit about finance and women now. There's a very big question about bootstrapped or fundraising, and both have their pros and cons.
Sure.
What's your take on it, and what would you advise?
Fundraising, see, it depends on where you are, and like I said, how fast you want to grow and where your idea is, how developed your idea is.
Right.
So if it's a fully developed idea and you don't have any funds to kind of manage your goals, then I think fundraising is a great thing to do, because that way you quickly get to where you are. But if you have some funds of your own and you're going step by step like how we are doing, so that works for us. Because see, if you go and get funds, you do a fundraiser or whatever, then you have to uh, then you can't go at your own pace.
Right.
You have to be at that you have to have a trajectory which kind of matches the
Right.
funding
That you're
partners
expecting.
are
Yeah.
expecting out of you. You have to be doubly sure where you're headed, because it could backfire. Because
Yeah.
you raise that kind of money and somebody is answerable. You're answerable to somebody.
Yeah.
Then you better be sure where you're going.
Fair enough, fair enough. Going back to one thing that you mentioned about, your experience, you said that many people told you that why don't you put your husband as the face of the brand because of the, the male counterpart, especially coming to finance. Um, do you think that's changed over the years? Do you think from the time you started till now, when you look at you're creating an app for women and women are tend to trusting more of a women founder. So what is your take on, how did you firstly feel when somebody said that to you, and how do you kind of battle that on a day-to-day level when you're speaking to more and more customers?
So the initial thing, when we were starting up,
Right.
so initial thing was like, are you even a friend? Like, why would you say that? So and women friends.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
women friends, not men friends.
Okay.
But women. So anyway, so that was then, and we kind of stuck to our guns and we said, no, we are where we are, and what we want to promote is more women looking at us and saying that it's a women friendly app and promoted by a woman. And yes, we have a co-founder who's a
Male
male
girl.
as well, but that is, we are a cohesive team, so it's not like that you have to have one face, and
Right.
you can't get Warren Buffett and say, okay, like he's the face of my app and he's the greatest investor ever. So so you have to deal with what you have and kind of make other people believe in you.
Yeah.
It's a tough challenge, but yes.
I'm sure. And how was it getting the first 10 women to trust you, and after that the ripple effect of your community growing?
So first 10 people would be, again, friends and family,
Of course, yeah.
because that's where you start.
I think that's the best support you get when you're starting out.
Yes. So there were, thank you to all those friends who supported us. But so we are still growing. I'm still waiting for the tsunami. There's ripples effect, like you're saying. It's still small ripples.
How is it when you speak to them? What is the change that you've seen in them after kind of investing better?
So you do get a sense of self-confidence. You do feel better about yourself, that you can do something with your money. That confidence is different.
You have women in your community, no matter how big or small, but I'm sure after they joined, they started investing better. You saw a change in the way they looked at life. So, what was that change that you saw in your community? And, what was that feeling that you got when you saw these women finally go closer to becoming financially independent?
It's a great feeling of self-confidence that you have the money and you have control over your money. And so these women, obviously, they tell other friends or family, or that this is a good way, whether it's FIKAA or whether you invest somewhere else. That's not the point. The point is that you start investing.
Right.
You start growing your money. So that change has been seen, that you have that, okay, today you have invested in a FIKAA, say $1,000 for an SIP, but tomorrow you look at Economic Times or you watch NDTV or whatever, and then you see NBC, which is the channel, and you know what they're talking about. You know that the gold prices are going up. You're tracking the market yourself, and you're listening into conversations that are happening around you and contributing to them also. That, I have invested in this fund also.
Okay.
You don't want, if there are five men talking about the stock market going this way or that way, and generally the women would steer to themselves and not participate in that conversation. But now people have an opinion. They will say that, okay, this is what I feel.
Right.
And the other thing is that if you have money over which you have control, there is a certain amount of confidence that you have in your personal life as well.
Right.
That if you are wanting to do something with your money, you're generally told, no, this business will not succeed, don't do it. Just keep your money by somebody. So you don't have to listen to this. My money, I know how it's grown. I know I can make it further, go this way or that way. Or if my business doesn't do well, I know I have a backup. My investments are my backup. I can fundraise. I can, little different avenues open up.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sound like a feminist kind of a thing, but yeah, if you're in a bad relationship because of your finances, then you have the thing to get out of it.
The power to get out of it.
Yeah, you have a voice. You say, no, I don't want this.
Right.
I can do different. I can manage myself. I don't have to go and stay, whichever situation is toxic, and remain there.
Yeah.
That's an extreme situation, but that happens to so many people also.
Yeah.
So you find a voice, basically. If you have the finances, you find a voice for yourself.
That's very needed because women are, they tend to doubt more, although we are the breadrunners. We kind of go around, run the whole household. They're known to do that. But when it comes to money, it's like, oh my God, that's not my department. Let someone else kind of take care of it. So I think being financially independent and learning more about it just helps you become more confident. Going a little into women, right? Now, just focusing on women as just our community, we are more risk averse, which means we try to avoid taking risks. So, why do you think this mindset is there? Because women will invest in jewelry in one go because we love it. But when it comes to stocks and trade market and equity, we're like, oh my God, that is not investment, that is finance. So, why do you think this mindset is still there in women in today's day and age?
So I think if you see historically, and I can say for myself also at one point of time, that if you have gold or jewelry, it's in your hands. It's there with you in your vault or in your cupboard or wherever you store it. It is something which is physically there with you and you have control over it. Doesn't matter if you go to sell it, you barely get half of what you've put in it. That is something which we don't realize, that it is not an investment. Unless you're just buying pure gold and waiting for the price to go up, or
trading in gold, basically.
That is an investment. But if you buy jewelry, it is not an investment. You should treat it as an accessory in today's time. Physicality of the investment is a big thing for us.
We still want the touch, feel, and
that it should be taken away from us.
Yeah.
Suppose something happens and the share prices go down, then what will I do? My 10,000 rupees will go down the drain. It becomes 2,000 rupees. So then I have nothing left with it. At least if I have gold jewelry, at least I have that. It's there in my hand.
I think it's a personality type that we have, and
which is changing now.
Yeah.
More and more younger girls are not so attached to jewelry. For accessories, they'll possibly get costume jewelry or whatever, or wear minimum jewelry, which I'm seeing that's a trend. And they are looking at investing.
Got it.
Even in the time that we've been in this space as a startup, we've seen the shift.
Okay.
We've seen more women are coming in to invest. That shift, luckily for everyone, is happening. And it is a great feeling.
Great. I'm sure. I mean, back then there was nothing like this, and now the world's kind of shifting to that. Okay. Any financial decision that you made early on, which you think now you'd like to probably change because you've learned so much more about the space?
I didn't invest. I would save money and spend judiciously, and kind of stay in your financial limits or whatever, and and think that, okay, I've achieved a lot. that I've not overspent, so I have
Saved a lot.
saved a lot, and I've done a big thing. But that's not the thing. That is a, like you're saying, that is what I regret. If I had again started, even in from the household expenses, whatever we have as housewives, that you save some amount of it and you invest it. You don't put it inside your cupboard and or under the mattress, as people say, and think that you've done a big job. It has not achieved anything.
Yeah, because the money is just ideally
Yeah,
lying there.
it's just lying there. That whatever X amount remains X, it doesn't become X plus whatever. It doesn't grow.
One thing that you said in a while back was women tend to take the money and keep it in there, like I've saved this much. So there's a very prominent Gen Z term that goes around called girl math.
Yes.
You've heard of it?
Yes.
Where if I save this much on discount, I'm actually saving money,
Yes.
not spending. So what is your take on girl math?
So if there's a sale in Zara and I've kind of got some 10,000 things at a discount, I've saved money.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have gone for the sale. You didn't need that much.
Yeah.
So you should go out and get something which you need rather than splurge a whole lot on discounts and feel that you've really done something.
Yeah. So, how do you kind of navigate questions? And I think this is something that many women face is how do you navigate questions regarding finance, regarding money with your family per se when you started out and probably you need funds or probably you just need a little bit of assistance. Like I mentioned, many women are still a little afraid. So, what's your take on it and how do you think a woman should navigate this conversation and rightfully have that respect that, okay, your business is not doing well, here, take some money, I'm helping you save it. Not that way. She's looking for an investment and she wants to be treated as an equal. So how should they navigate the conversations regarding that?
So, firstly, we should have a business plan
Right.
in a professional way and not just say, okay, I have an idea and let's do something.
Right.
It should be a business plan which is well thought out and we have a presentation. You should do it professionally rather than, just say, okay, I need some money. That's nobody believes in that then. To get credibility, you have to show that you're professional, that you mean business. And then it is smoother then. That's how, like with FIKAA also, had help from my husband. He was quite supportive, very, very supportive. And he said that, like, yeah, if you have an idea and if it is, even if there's a slim chance of it succeeding, go for it. So that support was very essential in the beginning. And so we had a business plan, we had a marketing strategy, market research done. It means we did everything professionally and then asked for that this is the amount we need for a beginning.
Right.
So otherwise, how do you know how much do you need?
Right. So I think one sub question to this. So which are the statements, like when I'm starting out, I have a business of my own, what financial statements and tools are the things that you think are key that women should kind of keep from day one?
Cash flow.
Yeah. Why cash flow?
Because you are bootstrapped. You need finances to grow. We were a team of, say, 5-6 people when we started. Now we're about 15. So even if you're not breaking even, we need cash flow to keep up with the expenses.
Right.
You always, if you're growing, you need various different platforms that you have to integrate with your app. So everything costs money, which is the bottom line. So you need a cash flow.
Cash flow is the key.
Because right now I'm not even looking at P&L because we are not at profit. So
so there's no point looking at it. Just look at what the cash at hand is and see how to increase
manage that and
So now moving on to a little bit of a different segment. I think this is just to get to know you a little bit better. I'm sure you've seen Coffee with Karan, so don't worry, I'm not asking you Bollywood questions, but a little about finance. This is going to be like one word, one sentence answers only. Go personal, tell us what your thoughts and your opinions are because that's what we want to hear. So the first question, what is a financial advice that you'll tell a 20-year-old Rinku?
invest.
Invest now.
Yes, invest now. Now
Right.
being the keyword.
Great. What is your favorite financial book?
I've just started reading in ET,
Okay.
Economic Times, so I think I'll just go with the paper.
We are all earning to gain something in life. So, what's that guilty pleasure for you?
Travel.
If you were down to your last 5,000 rupees, what would you do with it?
Buy groceries. Being a mom.
The name of this episode and the entire series is FoundHers. The motive and the reason why we named that is because we feel every woman is trying to find something. So, what is it that you are finding in your journey?
You always find reason for the next thing in your life. What is the next goal, next thing to do? When the kids are younger, it's their goals are based on their achievements.
Right.
Sometimes, and then it becomes more of a personal journey once they are of a certain age. Let everybody else take precedence, the family, the kids, and everything else. But I'm happy that more and more women are doing that at a younger age, and everything. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. It can
Yeah.
all go together.
Right.
So that is what I have learned.
Great. But what are you finding?
Finding myself, if it's too cliched. No, I want to travel. That is my biggest guilty pleasure. See a whole lot of more places than I have.
The biggest takeaway that I'm taking right now and literally going back home and being like, invest now. It's okay if I'm earning just 20, 30,000 out of my business at this point, but investing is so important. So thank you for that. I think that concludes today's episode. It was really a pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much.
I hope we are able to give that financial independence to more and more women listening to us today.
Yes, I hope so too. Thank you.